On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. The wise men, or the Magi as they're sometimes called, stand in the story for outsiders. Perhaps for people like you or me who don't always feel quite comfortable in religious circles, or don't feel quite like you belong in stuff like Jesus' birth. They are outsiders. They're foreigners from a distant land, perhaps followers of an entirely different religion. And yet not only are they welcome at Jesus' side when he is born, but they become an important part of the story, having a key role to play because their presence forever helps to share the type of Savior that Jesus will be. The type of Savior where all are welcome, whether insiders or outsiders, whether you feel like you belong or not, or that this stuff is for you or not, that there is a place for you here. The wise men came to Jesus because they followed the light. They followed the light of a star, and for us that light can be different things, and whatever that light may be, when we follow it, it leads us to Jesus. And in their story, we learn a couple things. Number one, we learn that when they found him, they worshiped him. They were overjoyed and they worshiped him. They experienced something in the presence of that newborn child laying in the manger as somehow being the very presence of God that moved them to worship with all that they are, to recognize something higher and greater than themselves. And as part of that worship, they opened up and gave. They gave of themselves. We're told they opened up their treasures and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In the same way, when we come into the presence of Jesus, we too are moved to worship and to give of ourselves. Perhaps the greatest gift we can give is the gift of ourself, given to him in adoration and love and worship. The second thing that we learn from their example is what happens after. After having encountered Jesus, we're told that they returned to their country by a different route because they'd been warned in a dream about the danger of going back through Jerusalem once again where King Herod was. And once again, this stands for our journey in faith, both the journey to Christ and the journey that happens after encountering him. That once we meet Jesus, sometimes the old ways, the old life isn't available to us anymore. We can't go back the way that we came because that path is no longer open to us. Instead, a new path has become open. When we give Jesus our lives, it turns out that he gives them right back to us, except he gives them back to us transformed, leading a new life, following a new direction to experience and encounter new things. No longer following the light of a star, but now following the light of Jesus Christ himself, who is the way and the truth and the life. And so the invitation is to follow him. Follow him, just as the wise men in the story did. Merry Christmas, and thanks be to God for the story of the wise men in Jesus' birth. Thanks for coming to the live Nativity at Crossroads Church.